Welcome to the Lovestead.
Hello, welcome back to Lady Lovestead Reads. My name is Jessica. Welcome to the May vlog. Hello, I'm pre-recording this and you're probably going to see it in every video moving forward because I always forget to say it in the moment when I'm filming. But I do tend to read some dark and twisted material, so before you read any of the books that I talk about, please check your trigger warnings. I started a new thing last month and I think it's gonna work for me. One video a month, and the videos will be my library haul, my wrap-up, a vlog, and then one bonus video. So if you have ideas or requests for what you would like in the bonus video, please let me know down below. It is actually Monday, April 29th, which technically isn't May, I know, but I wanted to start on a Monday. No big deal, no big deal. I actually don't have time at the moment to share with you what I'm reading, but I do have some plans for today. Today I'm getting a massage because last week was so stressful and hectic and tense. My muscles are incredibly locked up. So I'm getting a massage and then I'm going to the doctor to get this thing looked at because this is like new and I just want to make sure it's not skin cancer. So that's the plan for today. And then I have work, just regular work. I have critter chores, I have regular chores. Somewhere in there I will get some reading done. I will tell you that continuing from April, I am still reading Clash of Kings by George R.R. Martin. And then I picked up a new audiobook. Oh, what the heck, I'll just tell you what I'm reading because I'm starting them fresh. So the audiobook that I picked up is Rainbows Over Puddleduck Farm, and it is book 2 in this Puddleduck series that I started a couple months ago. And this series is just like a very cozy contemporary slice of life story where nothing too high stakes happens. You just kind of follow this main character as she goes about her life. She's a veterinarian and she helps her grandmother with a farm that she runs. So here's the booktube description. It says, Phoebe Dashwood is a passionately committed vet who's living the dream. She's about to open her own small animal practice at her grandmother's animal shelter, Puddleduck Farm, in the New Forest. Phoebe is helped by her two oldest friends. Her best friend Tori is a mix of hard-headed journalist and hopeless romantic who thinks love will conquer all when she finds the right man. Then there is Sam, Phoebe's staunchest ally, whose integrity and selflessness mean he would do anything to make Phoebe happy, no matter what the cost to himself. Very soon, Phoebe discovers that fantasy and reality don't quite match. An unscrupulous bunny breeder, a poison stream, and a complicated attraction all conspire to throw her dreams in a spin. Since I got bunnies, I just see stuff about rabbits everywhere, like everywhere. And it's so funny that this book is going to focus on a bunny breeder. So that's the audiobook that I'm reading. And then the regular size book, or the book under 5, because I do one book over 500, one book under 500. The book under 500 that I'm reading is How to Keep House While Drowning by Casey Davis. It says a gentle approach to cleaning and organizing. So I'm like so into this book that I really want to focus on it and just get a big chunk of it read. It's just what I'm in the mood for, so I'm going to chase that mood. And what I'm doing is I'm trying to knock out a bunch of nonfiction on the other side, so that I get to read this every single day and then just do a little bit of nonfiction when I'm not reading this. So this is nonfiction. It says, if you're struggling to stay on top of your to-do list, you probably have a good reason. Anxiety, fatigue, depression, ADHD, or lack of support. For therapist Casey Davis, the birth of her second child triggered a stress mess cycle. The more behind she felt, the less motivated she was to start. Casey regained her sanity and the functionality of her home after one life-changing realization. You don't work for your home works for you. Building on this foundation of self-compassion, she simplified her to-do list, designing creative workarounds to accommodate her limited time and energy. In this book, Casey expands on the powerful advice that's drawn millions of fans to her TikTok account at Domestic Blisters. So It's a short book designed specifically for neurodivergent folks, so it's really easy to read. And y'all know I've been working on my house for like the past year trying to dig out of a situation, and I have made really good progress, but it's been so slow because I also deal with chronic pain and chronic illness and a crazy busy life on top of all of it. So I'm hoping that this will help my mental state and help me reframe my approach to my house and some of the like guilt and shame that I feel around it, and also give me some helpful cleaning advice. That's what I'm reading. That's what's happening. I gotta go.
Happy May Day. I finished Rainbows Over Puddleduck Farm yesterday, and I thought it was really cute. I gave it 3 stars. There's a love triangle, but it's not a silly love triangle. It's actually kind of sweet. I'm not sure yet what I'm going to pick up on audiobook. I also am wanting to pick up another Kindle Unlimited read tonight, but I don't know which one I'm going to pick up there either. Also, I went to the doctor for this, and it is not cancerous. It's so benign, they didn't even feel like they needed to like take a scraping or anything like that. He took a look at it and he was like, yeah, that's not cancer. Yeah, that's good news. You know, I didn't think it was, but I would rather be safe than sorry. So as you get older, you get more moles and skin tags and weird things happen. Something for all you youngins to look forward to, I guess.
Hello, happy May 2nd. It's Thursday, May 2nd, 2024. I have some reading updates for you. Ooh, that coffee's hot. I tried Nespresso's hazelnut, and it's actually really good. So sometimes with Nespresso, like the flavored coffees don't really taste like anything at all. Like you can't tell that there's flavor in it. But the hazelnut one is really shining through as clearly like hazelnut. So pro tip if you've got an espresso machine. Shared last night that I finished Rainbows Over Puddleduck. I gave it 3 stars. I found it to be just really cute, like in line with the first book. A slice of life story, absolutely no stakes. It's not one that I think a lot of people will like. It's like you have to be in the right mood for it. It's like a cozy mystery without the murder and the mystery. I'm just trying to give you like a good understanding. Like I liked it, but I don't think a lot of people will like it unless you like really cozy, absolutely no stakes, little plot, nice characters with some conflict and some trauma, but nothing too over the top. You know, kind of slice of life stories. It's good if you're like, for me, when I read these books, it's because I've been feeling really anxious and I need to escape into a world that's just completely safe. And it absolutely fulfills that need for me. I'll read the 3rd one when I need to read it, right? So the next audiobook that I'm picking up is a thriller called The Teacher by Frida McFadden. And I have never read from this author before, but let me read you the Goodreads description of the book. Lesson number 1, trust no one. Eve has a good life. She wakes up each day, kisses her husband Nate, and heads off to teach math at the local high school. All is as it should be, except last year, Kasem High was rocked by a scandal involving a student-teacher affair with one student, Addie, at its center. But Eve knows that there's far more to these ugly rumors than meets the eye. Addie can't be trusted. Ooh, she lies, she hurts people, she destroys lives. At least that's what everyone says, but no one knows the real Addie. Nobody knows the secrets that could destroy her, and Addie will do anything to keep it quiet. That sounds like it walks a fine line. So we will see. Yeah, we'll just see. I was craving a romance last night, and I haven't read from Kindle Unlimited I'm due for a Kindle Unlimited. So what I've been trying to do with KU is I read 3 books for my own shelves and then a KU, and then 3 books for my own shelves and then a KU. And I'd read 3, so I was due for a KU. So I picked up Haunting Adeline. Let me read you the description of this. And you've heard it before because I will have at this point posted my current Kindle Unlimited list, because I check out 20, I read all 20, return them, check out 20 more. That's how I do it. So I've posted a video on my current Kindle Unlimited checkouts. After I read them all, I'll post the next video on my checkouts. But it says The Manipulator. The Manipulator, I can manipulate the emotions of anyone who lets me. I will make you hurt, make you cry, make you laugh and sigh, but my words don't affect him, especially not when I plead for him to leave. He's always there watching and waiting, and I can never look away, not when I want him to come closer. Then there's The Shadow. I didn't mean to fall in love, but now that I have, I can't stay away. I'm mesmerized by her smile, by her eyes, and the way she moves, the way she undresses. I'll keep watching and waiting until I can make her mine, and once she is, I'll never let her go, not even when she begs me to. I started it, I read about 30 pages, and I DNF'd it. And not because it's dark. I love dark shit. I will read you the line that made me instantly be like, okay, this isn't going to work for me. There are some things that I did like about it. So the main character, Addie, is a writer. She lives at her grandmother's estate, and the way that this house is described, like, it sounds absolutely stunningly beautiful, right up my street in terms of like decor and the moodiness of it. Like, it's all black, the walls are black, it's a lot of velvet furniture and things like that. So I really like that setting a lot. There's kind of a little mystery going on too, because she discovers some letters from her grandmother from 1944, and I guess her grandmother had a similar stalker as the guy that's now stalking Addie. But what killed it for me was I got to the stalker's point of view, and she's at a book signing, and he spots her, and he's like blown away by how pretty she is, and he's watching her sign her books or whatever, and it says, I don't know if God really exists. I don't know if mankind has ever walked on the moon, nor do I know if parallel universes exist. But what I do know is that I just found the meaning of life sitting behind a table with her awkward smile on her face. Blech. That's just so cheese, so cringe, so insta-love. If you want to make me not like your romance, make it an insta-love. Like, I just can't. I just can't with that kind of writing. So really, that's why I DNF'd it. And like, I was like, oh, I don't know. I'm kind of curious because so many people really like this book and they say it's like really dark. And like, there is a scene already in the first 30 pages that's pretty dark where he's like torturing this guy because I think he's going after human trafficking rings and stuff. But I don't know. That writing, it's going to make me roll my eyes every single time and pull me out of the story. So then I was like, well, maybe I can look up a summary online, see if I like what this book's about, and then read it. And I was like, why would I do that? Why would I do that? So yeah, I DNF'd it. And then I do still want to read a romance. So one of the other romances I have on my Kindle is Black Sunshine by Karina Hale. So I think that's what I'm going to pick up next. Let me find the Goodreads description of that one. Again, even though you've heard it in my KUTBR video. Says all Lenore Warwick wants for her 21st birthday is to hang out with her friends, finish her second year at Berkeley with flying colors, and maybe catch the eye of a hot musician playing a show at a club that she can now legally get into. Unfortunately, fate has other plans for her. A week before her birthday, she's kidnapped by the brooding and dangerous stranger with cold eyes and a lethal touch who has been stalking her on San Francisco's fog-shrouded streets. Absalon Solon Stavig isn't your average criminal, though. He's a centuries-old vampire who's caught between wanting to kill Lenore and wanting to save her. You see, Lenore, too, is a vampire. She just doesn't know it yet. I started this one last night, and I almost DNF'd it as well. Because the prologue opens in the Pacific Northwest. And there's a couple vampire slayers hunting down vampires who live in the Pacific Northwest because it's nice and cloudy. What's that sound like? Begins with a twy and ends with a light. So I got through the prologue and then I started reading the first chapter, and I am tentatively on board with the first chapter. and I'm gonna see where it goes. It might also be a DNF though. I just want a romance that has like oomph and substance and depth and characters that get to know each other in a believable way. Like, for me to really like a romance, it has to feel real. It has to feel real. It has to feel like this is actually a love connection. So like Divine Rivals, for example, it's such a slow build up to them like becoming a couple. And it's so believable because you understand why they like each other. You see the progression of their interest in each other happen. So does that mean that I'm a slow burn fan? Do I need to check out more slow burn romances? Is that what this means? I'm not super experienced in reading romance either, so I need help from those of you who are. Does that mean I like slow burn? Ah! I'm making good progress on this. This shouldn't take me too long to read it all. The chapters are short, it's easy to read, it's easy to digest because it's written specifically for neurodivergent minds. And it does have really good action steps in here for, you know, cleaning and housekeeping. I like how it is disconnecting morality from keeping a tidy house. Like, it's not a moral characteristic to have a mess in your house. It's not a sign of your character. It's more just a sign of your schedule and priorities. And that doesn't make you a good or bad person. And like trying to disconnect some of that, I guess, not brainwashing. What do we want to say? That messaging that we get about housekeeping, especially as women. So yes, How to Keep House While Drowning is turning out to be a really good book to read and to have on my shelves, and I should finish it like real quick here, which is why I decided to pick up a KU book. So that, I think, is it for reading updates.
Hi, baby girl. You're so pretty.
Hi, it is Saturday, May 4th, and I have been filming today. I filmed my March and April wrap up, and I'm probably going to start editing that and back on schedule, hopefully, with videos here. But I wanted to do a reading check-in because I have made some progress with The Teacher. I've read about 32% of it by Frida McFadden, and I'm having a really fun time with it. So it is about this student who apparently something happened with her and her math teacher, but we're not really sure what it was, just that both the teacher and the student are saying that like it was nothing like sexual or anything like that. But the student wasn't like outright defensive of the teacher when all of this happened, and the teacher ended up being asked to leave, and now he's having a lot of trouble finding a job somewhere. And it's unclear as to why she didn't like just outright say, no, nothing happened between us. So we get part of that student's perspective is it's like the first day of school and she's starting 11th grade. And so she is in the class with both the husband and wife. So the other point of view is this husband and wife couple. It's from the wife's perspective. And they both teach at this high school. The man teaches English and she teaches math. And the student is in both of their classes. And so the wife is like really concerned that the student's going to cause problems for her husband because her husband's like this super good looking guy and all of the female students at the school think he's just so hot and like all this. And this book is kind of funny, and I don't know if it's meaning to be funny, but I have laughed out loud several times now because this marriage is an unhappy marriage, and the wife copes by buying shoes. And like, she just has this weird obsession with shoes, and like when they go on a date she like makes sure to mention what shoes she's wearing, and like it's such a silly characteristic. And like where is that coming from? Like, why of all things you could write a character and all the different traits you could give them, shoe obsession. Like, like Freedom McFadden was like, yes, let's do that. So that's kind of funny. Yeah, it's making me laugh, but I don't know if it's meaning to be funny, but I am finding certain parts of it kind of funny. I'm having a great time. I'm finding it really entertaining. So that's that. And then I am going to continue with Black Sunshine. I am intrigued enough to continue with it. And that's the reading update. Hello, it's Monday, May 6th. I wanted to do a quick check-in. I finished The Teacher by Freida McFadden and I gave it 2.5 stars. It was highly entertaining, but in the way of like, it's so bad it's good. Like, I was laughing my way through that book. I thought it was hilarious, but I don't think it was trying to be hilarious. Like, I want to share just this one spoilerly thing with you. So I'm going to put the spoiler sign up and count down to 5 if you don't want to hear the spoiler. The spoiler sign will come down when I'm done with the spoiler in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So Eve, the teacher, gets buried alive. She's the one that's obsessed with shoes. When she like gets herself out of the dirt, one of the first things she thinks is that she's really ticked off that they buried her without any shoes on. And she's like so mad that she's barefoot instead of in a pair of her beloved shoes. Like, this, yeah, it's a funny book. Like, it's funny, but I don't know if it was supposed to be funny is the thing. And yeah, this is so bad it's good and entertaining kind of a read, and I gave it 2.5 stars. The next audiobook that I am picking up is The Last Word by Taylor Adams. Let me read you the Goodreads description. After posting a negative book review, a woman living in a remote location begins to wonder if the author is a little touchy or very, very dangerous. In this pulse-pounding novel of psychological suspense and terror from the critically acclaimed author of No Exit and Hairpin Bridge, Emma Carpenter lives in isolation with her golden retriever Leica, house-sitting an old beachfront home on the rainy Washington coast. Her only human contact is her enigmatic old neighbor Deke and the house's owner Jules via text. One day she reads a poorly written but gruesome horror novel by the author H.G. Cain and posts a 1-star review that drags her into an online argument with none other than the author himself. Soon after, disturbing incidents start to occur at night. To Emma, this can't be just a coincidence. It was strange enough for this author to bicker with her online about a lousy review, but could he be stalking her too? We all have heard, if you've been on BookTube for any amount of time, stories about authors engaging with reviewers in toxic ways. So I'm enjoying this read so far. I'm like 20% of the way into it and I'm enjoying it. I'll talk more about that in a future update because I actually need to head out. I am going to my local library. I want to pick up another book because the Vamps at the Lair are reading it this month. And it's on my TBR. So I'm going to pick up another book from the library. I'll share with you what it is, you know, at some point in this monthly vlog. And I'm going to go to an event at the library. It's called a Death Cafe. And I'll tell you more about that later as well, because I gotta go.
Welcome. We have coloring sheets, we have name tags up here and treats, so please help yourself.
Hello, it is Tuesday, May 7th. I'm working on just some like mindless things I don't have to think about too much, so I thought I would talk to you and update you while I'm doing that. So if I don't look at the camera while I'm talking to you, that's why I'm kind of multitasking here. But last night I finished How to Keep House While Drowning by Casey Davis, and I am giving it 4 stars. It's not quite a 5 because I think that the writer could have done more with this. But I did take away some really helpful information. So one of the first things that was really helpful was their strategy for just like a quick clean in 5 steps. And for me, I think that this strategy will work really well to maintain my space once I get it reset how I want it reset. So both bathrooms and my kitchen are done. Really close to getting the dining room and living room done. Close to getting the bedroom done. This space is still a wreck. Close to getting the, you know, I'm really close on a lot of different spaces. And I think once I get it reset, I'll be able to use this 5-step method. So what the 5-step method is you first, you go through and you focus on 5 different things, and it allows you to kind of hyper focus on these 5 different things. So first you go through and you pick up and throw away any trash. Then you go through and you pick up any dishes and you put the dishes in your sink or your kitchen. Don't do the dishes, just put them in the kitchen, you know, ready to be done. Then you pick up any clothing or laundry and you take that to your laundry space. Then you put away things that have a place, and then you make a pile of the stuff that doesn't have a place so that you can take care of it. So I think that's a really strategic way of like a really quick clean. And what it also does is since you're focusing on trash and dishes first, you and laundry, you get rid of the stuff that could attract like pests or be unhealthy. You get rid of that really fast. So I think that's effective. And I'll probably use that once I get my spaces totally reset as a strategy. I mean, I'm still basically doing something like that, but just be more intentional with it. Another thing that I liked was how she wants you to separate like morals from keeping a clean house, and how like your space and how clean or tidy it is or isn't is morally neutral. And so we should, you know, stop thinking that like if our space is not clean, we're a bad person. If it's clean, we're a good person. I thought that was a helpful reframe. There was also this concept that, you know, your house isn't going to be entirely clean every single room all at once 100%. Like you're going to have spaces that are clean, others that aren't, and it's just going to kind of be a constant rotation, I guess. And also about how like your space serves 3 main purposes. Like the first is health and safety, the second is comfort, and then the third is joy and beauty. And that was fun to think about. And then also the idea that cleaning is cyclical, and so if something's not clean, you kind of are thinking about, okay, where is this in the cycle? Like with laundry, you wash, dry, fold, put away, wear, put in the basket. Like, where are you in that cycle? And that was kind of helpful. But I still think even within that, like, there's more that she could have done with this. More strategies or ideas. More discussion of neurodivergence and why that makes keeping a space clean difficult. Yeah, I just think there could have been more. So 4 stars for that one. I'm a member of janagaton's Patreon called the Lair. It's vampire themed. And once a month she hosts a readathon specifically for her Patreon members. I'm not always able to participate in it, but I think I'm going to be able to participate this month. It is this weekend, and it is AAPI month themed. And I actually have enough books to be able to like fill out the TBR for the prompts and everything. And then one of them, actually both of them, will also overlap with her full moon book club picks for the month and her Lair bloody read, which is like a buddy read we do with each other. And like I just haven't been able to participate in Lair stuff and her Patreon stuff as much as I would like to, just because life gets in the way, or like I won't have access to the books that they're reading, or I just won't be in the mood to read the books that they're reading. But this month is like I have the books, or I have access to them, I'm interested in reading them, and I have the time. So like ka-ching, I'm definitely going to be able to participate in Lair things this month. So this weekend, I'm going to focus on 3 books for that readathon. And put aside Black Sunshine and Clash of Kings for my physical reads. So I went to the library last night to pick up one of them. And it is Chlorine by Jade Song. And this is the Lair bloody read for the month. So I'll read you the cover of this. It says, Ren Yu is a swimmer. Her daily life starts and ends with the pool. Her teammates are her only friends. Her coach is her guiding light. If she swims well enough, she'll be scouted, get a scholarship, go to good school. Her parents will love her. Her coach will be kind to her. She will have a good life. But these are human concerns. These are the concerns of those confined to land, those with legs. Ren grew up on stories of creatures of the deep, of the oceans and rivers, creatures that called sailors to their doom, that dragged them down and drowned them, that feasted on their flesh, the creature that she's always longed to become, the mermaid. Ren aches to be in the water. She dreams of the scent of chlorine, the feel of it on her skin, and she will do anything she can to make a life for herself where she can be free, no matter the pain, no matter what anyone else thinks, no matter how much blood she has to spill. So this sounds like a literary horror, magical realism kind of read. I don't know what it's actually categorized as. This will be my first read from this author. A lot of my bookish friends have really liked this, like my friend Destiny. It's one of her top books of the year. So it is also, yeah, I said it's the buddy read. So I'll be reading this for the readathon. I'll also finally finish The Promised Neverland. This is volume 20. It's the last one I need to read. And I feel like I've been putting it off because I don't want the series to end, honestly. But I'm going to get to it this weekend. One of the prompts for the readathon is like a manga or graphic novel by an AAPI author. So we'll get to this one. And then the third one that I'm going to prioritize is one that I actually have on my shelf. It was a book of the month pick for me for April. And I skipped book of the month in May. There weren't any that I thought were interesting, but I did get this one in April. And it is Dragonfruit by Makia Lucier. I am not saying that correctly, because I used a French accent and this is not a French writer, but I will read you the description of this one. Hanalei of Tamarind is the cherished daughter of an old island family, but when her father steals a sea dragon egg meant for an ailing princess, she is forced into a life of exile. In the years that follow, Hanalei finds solace in studying the majestic sea dragon that roam the Nomi Sea, until one day an encounter with a female dragon offers her what she desires most, a chance to return home and to right a terrible wrong. I'm going to butcher this name as well. Samahitamahinale Sam is the last remaining prince of Tamarind, but he can never inherit the throne, for Tamarind is a matriarchal society. With his mother ill and his grandmother nearing the end of her reign, Sam is left with two choices: to marry or to find a cure for the sickness that has plagued his mother for 10 long years. When a childhood companion returns from exile, she brings with her something he has not felt in a very long time: hope. But Hanalei and Sam are not the only ones searching for the dragonfruit. And as they battle enemies, both near and far, there is another danger they cannot escape: that of the dragonfruit itself. This sounds so good. And like the cover is absolutely freaking stunning. Look at the little bat. It's so cute. Oh, I think this sounds awesome. And what I'm actually going to do, because I do want to finish these books, I don't want to like start them and then have them drag out. I'm actually going to start them today and hopefully will get them finished by the time the weekend readathon is over. So I don't know which one I'm going to start. It'll be either Chlorine or Dragonfruit. I'm leaning towards this one actually, because like the text is really big. It's almost like large print text. So I feel like it'll actually go really fast. I don't know. We'll see. I'll let you know which one I start. And then last night I went to, at the library, I mentioned I went to a death cafe. I first learned about death cafes from reading The Collected Regrets of Clover last year. And that book is about a death doula, and she goes to these death cafes. So a death cafe is just like a pop-up meeting where you talk about anything related to death. And I had absolutely no expectations going in. I wasn't sure who was going to show up. I wasn't sure what we were going to talk about or what we were going to do, or if I would be uncomfortable or whatever. And it actually was a pretty cool experience. We talked about like a lot of different topics. There's like 10 of us that were there, and it was like people from all different age ranges and backgrounds and things. And like we talked about a lot of different topics related to death and dying. And like there are parts where I felt uncomfortable and I kind of wrote it out and stuck with it. And then there were parts that were like really interesting and fun to talk about. And like some people shared some like really like vulnerable things about like their experience with death and dying and grief, and like I really liked it. And if the next meeting is, you know, at a time where I can attend, I'll definitely go again. So if that's like something that interests you, death, dying, grief, loss, estate planning, like anything around the topic is up for discussion at these meetings. And it's not taboo at all. Like it's very open and like accepting, and like everybody was so respectful. Like everybody had a chance to speak, and nobody was interrupting anyone, and nobody said anything judgmental, and like everybody just kind of considered the ideas and like, you know, thought back and forth. Like it was such a like a respectful, kind environment. And I'm sure that there are some death cafes that aren't like that, like, because everyone's probably a little bit different, but my experience was really positive and like supportive and lovely. So I would say if it's something that interests you or something you're curious about, see if there is a death cafe in your area and try attending and see what it's like. That's the update for today.
It's Saturday, and I think I'm going to be able to finish Dragonfruit today. I'm so happy to be able to actually participate in this readathon. I'm having a great time. Doing it. I'm reading the last Promised Neverland, and I'm bawling already, and I'm only like a fourth of the way through, and I can't. Oh, this series is so good, and this is the last one. Oh, and it's like so emotional. Whew. Okay, gotta keep going. I can't handle it.
Hello, it's about 6:30 p.m. here, Monday, May 13th, and I just wrapped up my work day pretty early for a Monday, actually. Mondays usually go to like midnight, so I'm very happy. I'm gonna get an evening off, and I wanted to check in about my reading. We did have the Lair readathon this weekend. I was able to participate in it, And the theme of the readathon was like AAPI authors. I first finished my audiobook, and this had nothing to do with the readathon. So we'll start with the audiobook first, which was The Last Word by Taylor Adams. The premise of this is that this woman, Emma, goes to a beach to house sit a lake house. Or not, I guess it's a beach house, not a lake house. And she's trying to escape from some sort of tragedy that she's had in her life. We don't really know what the tragedy is. And her neighbor, Deke, recommends that she read this book. And the book is called Murder Mountain. Emma spends most of her time reading free and low-cost books on her Kindle as just escapism. Like, she just reads book after book after book, but the free to low-cost ones. And a lot of times those free to low cost ones are like independently published books or self-published books, and some of them are real doozies. So anyway, her neighbor recommends she read this book called Murder Mountain. And it's a terrible book, and she gives it a really scathing review on Amazon. And the author responds back to her and starts arguing with her about how she should take her review down and how it's going to affect his livelihood and how he's actually like a really good writer and she just isn't a good reader. Things we've actually seen happen in the bookish community, which is wild. And then in addition to that, there's someone kind of stalking Emma and like coming to her house at night and like threatening her vaguely. She doesn't quite know who it is. And it kind of spins out of control into what ends up being kind of a slasher. And it just gets really unhinged at the end, like really unhinged and kind of over the top. And I enjoyed it. There was like twist after twist in this, and it was spooky. Like the vibes were absolutely spooky and scary. Total creep factor. I was loving it the first part of the book where it was strictly from Emma's point of view. And then in part 2, they switched to multiple points of view. So I like that less. I think I would have liked the book more if it stayed in Emma's point of view. But based on the structure of the story and how it all pans out, you know, it makes sense at that point to have multiple POVs. Yeah, I give it 4 stars. I enjoyed it. It was a wild time. Some of it was unbelievable, like just unbelievable enough that I could not give it a 5-star. But if you want a fun slasher with lots of twists and turns set on a beach, give it a go. Now, for the readathon, I talked about how I was starting Dragonfruit, and I finished it. And I gave this one 4 stars. I thought it was just a lovely story. The reason I got 4 stars is there's this scene towards the end that's particularly like brutal and horrific. And I don't feel like it fit with the tone of the rest of the book. Like the rest of the book is fairly heartwarming, and this scene just came out of nowhere. This event just came out of nowhere and wasn't resolved in a way that I felt was consistent to the tone of the rest of the book. But that was really my only complaint. I really liked the characters. I thought they were appropriate for a YA fantasy. The plot was nice. The sea dragons reminded me of axolotls, so of course I just fell in love with the sea dragons, and I liked the lore and the mythology that was inserted into this story. Some people have mentioned problems with pacing. I didn't notice that when I was reading. So if there are problems with pacing, it wasn't bad enough to like pull me out of the story or anything like that. And I gave Dragonfruit 4 stars. I am going to keep it on my shelf too, because there's a good chance I will reread this. My theory, okay, here's my theory or how I'm approaching the books that stay permanently in my library and get a stamp. So I have a stamper that says belongs to the library of, and I stamp it when I do my first reread. It's like if I liked a book enough to reread it, and after my reread I'm like, yes, I still like this, that's when I stamp it. So we will see if this gets a reread, you know, in coming years. If it doesn't get a reread, then I'll probably unhaul it. And that's kind of like my approach to managing my library. And then I did read and finish The Promised Neverland, Volume 20. As you saw, this wrecked me in the best possible way. It was a wonderful culmination to this long journey, and I just love this series so much. Like, so much. Like, oh my gosh. These kids crawled into my heart and made a home there, and I will remember this series, especially Emma. Like, Emma's just absolutely incredible, and I honestly think she's being portrayed as a Christ-like figure. Could be totally wrong, but that's something that I sort of read into her and her character, but it's so good. If you can handle like dystopic horror manga, you might really like this series. I gave this final volume 5 stars, and I'm so sad that it's over. Now I have to find my next manga series. So, manga that I've read and enjoyed, Death Note, loved it. One of my top 5 manga for sure. This one, Promised Neverland. And then I have read Vampire Knight, and I thought that was enjoyable. But I need recommendations, like what should be the next manga series that I pick out. Because my library gets most of like the most popular ones. So give me some recommendations down below if you read manga on what I should try out for my next series. Now for reading, the books that I'm reading, now that the readathon is over, I got 2 out of the 3 books read. I'm happy with that. I'm going to go back to my regularly scheduled programming. But for audiobook, the book that I picked up was the 3rd book in the Inheritance Game series by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. So let me read you the description of that one. It's called The Final Gambit. And it says, to inherit billions, all Avery Kylie Grahams has to do is survive a few more weeks living in Hawthorne House. The paparazzi are dogging her every step. Financial pressures are building. Danger is a fact of life. And the only thing getting Avery through it all is the Hawthorne brothers. Her life is intertwined with theirs. She knows their secrets and they know her. But as the clock ticks down to the moment when Avery will become the richest teenager on the planet, trouble arrives in the form of a visitor who needs her help, and whose presence in Hawthorne House could change everything. It soon becomes clear that there is one last puzzle to solve, and Avery and the Hawthorne brothers are drawn into a dangerous game against an unknown and powerful player. I am like 30% of the way through this, and I'm enjoying it so far. I mean, it's right in line with the other 2. There's a little bit more of like the relationship stuff and the romance stuff in this one, but otherwise, it's, yeah, like I said, it's right in line with the first 2 in the series. And now I'm going to go back to what I was reading before the readathon, which is Clash of Kings and Black Sunshine. That's my reading update. Oh, Friday, we saw the Northern Lights in Iowa, and like, I think I saw them just kind of faintly with my naked eye dancing around, and I was trying to take a picture of them at like 2:30 in the morning, which I guess would be Saturday morning. Here's the picture I got. Isn't it a masterpiece? But yeah, I was really happy to see the Northern Lights because that was on my bucket list to see them. So even though I only saw it like faintly, I'm still happy that I saw it, and that was really cool seeing everybody's photos and stuff. And then this weekend we had the Lair readathon. And you are caught up on life stuff now too. Woohoo! Hello friends, Editor Jess popping in here. This vlog is getting really long, so to avoid having like a 3-hour long vlog, I'm going to cut it in half and share the second half with you later, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching.